Happy Monday. Today is Monday, May the 9th, 2022. Today's daily Bible readings come to us from Psalm 100, Ezekiel 37, 15 through 28, and then Revelation 15, 1 through 4. I'm going to take a look at Revelation 15, 1 through 4 and talk about the Great Thanksgiving. And if you're a Methodist, in our case, that should sound familiar to you because it's what we call the liturgy of communion. So when we gather together around the Lord's table, we celebrate the Great Thanksgiving. Especially if you're in a church that uses, the hymnal a lot and uses the book of worship and uses the liturgy, which I'm not saying you have to do that all the time, but it's good to go back to it frequently and also use it as the structure to make sure you have all your bases covered in communion. But it's sort of a song if you think about it, and I want you to consider that in context of what we have here in Revelation, because let me ask you this question: if you, what song would you sing if you had just conquered the forces of evil? Right? If you had just won this great victory over the forces of evil, what song would you sing? And I would suggest that good chances are that it would probably be all about yourself, which wouldn't be unusual, maybe even expected. It would, songs that would go along lines of like, "Oh, I'm so awesome, I'm so great," something like that. Which is just kind of the nature of who we are as people. But think about what's going on here. Here you have the saints gathered around this like flaming sea of glass, right? We have in John's vision the conquering saints who have been victorious against the beast, we're told. The beast, its image, and its name. And here they are standing before this burning sea of glass. But they don't sing a song about their own praises, right? They're not singing, they're not standing in this amazing place in front of all this majesty going like, "We're so awesome, we're so great." They don't sing their own praises. They sing about God's praises. They sing about God and his victories all the way back to the time of Moses. They take the story all the way back there, and they're talking about like all the victories that God has won. So rather than brag about their victory, they sing praise to the one who gave them the victory. Does that make sense? Because they couldn't have stood against this overwhelming evil on their own. They stood before the evil and they were victorious over him because God made them conquerors. This goes back to what we saw a couple of weeks ago when when Jesus is sending this letter to the churches and saying to them things like, conquer. If you will have faith in him specifically, you will conquer. That's how you conquer. So these are the people who, in spite of all the evil that was thrown against them, they stood in faith and they conquered because God conquered through them. And they know it, and they sing God's praises rather than their own. It's a great thanksgiving for what God has done and is doing and will do. That's what they're singing. It's a song of praise about how victorious God is and giving thanks for what he's done through them and for them. And so, and we join in that song when we celebrate the great Thanksgiving around the Lord's table. And we recount the story of God's faithfulness to all of his people, going all the way back to when he first started his great work of saving humanity. Anyway, that's the DBR for today. Get out and enjoy the day. We'll talk to you later. Boop.